Clint Eastwood was born Clinton Eastwood, Jr. on May 31, 1930 in San Francisco, California. He grew up during the Great Depression, and his family moved around California a lot because his dad was looking for work. These tough early years taught him to work hard and stay strong, and that's how he acted in movies later on. After finishing high school, he did all kinds of jobs, like cutting down trees and working at gas stations before joining the U.S. Army during the Korean War. While he was stationed at Fort Ord, Eastwood met people who wanted to be actors, and he started getting interested in performing too. His big break came in the late 1950s when he got cast as Rowdy Yates in the popular TV Western show called Rawhide. Even though his character wasn't the main one at first, Eastwood's strong presence and handsome looks made fans love him, and the show helped launch his career. But it was when he played the mysterious man with no name in Sergio Leone's famous Dollars trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars in 1964, For a Few Dollars More in 1965, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in 1966, that made him a huge star around the world. These movies, called spaghetti westerns, changed the western genre completely and turned Eastwood into a worldwide icon of cool toughness and gritty anti-hero characters. In the 1970s, Eastwood became even more famous with the Dirty Harry movies, playing Inspector Harry Callahan, a tough San Francisco cop who became both controversial and celebrated in American culture. With lines like, "Go ahead, make my day," Eastwood became the symbol of tough masculinity and conservative law and order ideas, playing a character who followed his own rules in a world where right and wrong weren't always clear. Never happy to just act in movies, Eastwood started directing and quickly became a powerhouse behind the camera, too. His first movie as a director, Play Misty for Me in 1971, showed he was really good at suspense and psychological drama. Over the years, he directed many different kinds of films, from westerns like High Plains, Drifter in 1973, and Pale Rider in 1985, to character-focused dramas like The Bridges of Madison County in 1995, and serious war films like Flags of Our Fathers in 2006 and Letters from Iwo Jima in 2006. The second one was told from the Japanese side, which was a bold and understanding choice that critics really loved. Eastwood's career hit its highest point with Unforgiven in 1992, a different kind of western that broke down the myths about violence and being a hero. The movie won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, making Eastwood one of cinema's true legends. He kept winning awards with $1 Million Baby in 2004, another Best Picture and Best Director winner, showing his amazing ability for emotional storytelling and complicated moral themes. Even when he got older, Eastwood kept making great movies. Films like Gran Torino in 2008, American Sniper in 2014, Sully in 2016, and The Mule in 2018 show a filmmaker and actor still doing amazing work, dealing with important issues in society and showing famous people with real depth and detail. His simple directing style, using natural lighting, doing just a few takes, and shooting movies quickly, has become legendary in Hollywood. Beyond making movies, Clint Eastwood also got involved in politics, serving as mayor of Carmel by the Sea, California from 1986 to 1988. Even though people often think of him as conservative, Eastwood's personal beliefs have always been more about freedom and being independent than being strictly political. He supports personal freedom, protecting the environment and the arts, showing a complex and sometimes surprising set of values. Eastwood's work has been honored with many awards, including several Academy Awards, Golden Globes, and Lifetime Achievement Awards. In 2000, he got the Irving G. Thalberg Memorial Award for consistently making high-quality movies. He also received the French Legion of Honor in 2007 and was given an AFI Life Achievement Award. On December 19, 1953, Clint Eastwood married Maggie Johnson, a secretary at a car parts company he had met on a blind date earlier that year. Back then, Eastwood was still a fairly unknown actor who hadn't yet made the huge impact on Hollywood that would make him famous later. Maggie stayed with him through the early years when they didn't have much money and he wasn't sure about his career. Their marriage lasted more than 30 years, and during that time, Eastwood's fame grew like crazy. The couple had 2 kids together. Clint Eastwood, born in 1968, who became a well-known jazz musician and composer, and Allison Eastwood, born in 1972, who followed her dad into the movie business as an actress, director, and producer. Even though the couple looked stable to the public for many years, their relationship was really damaged by Eastwood's many affairs with other women. After being apart for a long time, they separated in 1984 and got divorced several years after that. Reports back then said that Maggie Johnson got a divorce settlement between $25 million and $30 million, which shows not only how rich Eastwood was, but also how famous their marriage had been. Even before he officially separated from Johnson, Eastwood had been in a serious, long-term affair with Roxanne Tunis, a stuntwoman and dancer. This relationship started in 1959 and lasted until around 1973. Their affair was kept pretty secret because of Eastwood's growing fame, but it was still really important. In 1964, they had a daughter named Kimberlyn Eastwood, who was kept away from the public for many years. For a while, most people didn't even know Kimber existed, and she was raised quietly by Tunis, without Eastwood publicly saying she was his daughter, although he reportedly helped support her privately. Kimber eventually got into the entertainment business herself, working as a makeup artist and producer. The relationship with Tunis happened at the same time as Eastwood's marriage to Johnson, which was an early sign of the complicated and often overlapping relationships that would be a big part of his life. By 1975, Eastwood started one of his most visible and talked about relationships, this time with actress Sondra Locke. Their relationship was both romantic and professional, and they became one of Hollywood's most recognizable power couples of that time. Locke starred with Eastwood in several movies, including The Outlaw Josie Wales, Every Which Way But Loose, and Bronco Billy, and their chemistry on screen showed their deep, real-life connection. They lived together for more than 14 years, from 1975 until their bitter breakup in April 1989. Even though they seemed really devoted to each other, Eastwood had other relationships during this time, and it came out later that he had fathered at least 3 children with other women while still with Locke. This discovery led to a lot of personal and legal drama, ending in lawsuits and a very public legal battle after they broke up. Locke later wrote a book called The Good, the Bad, and the Very Ugly, which talked about her relationship with Eastwood and accused him of being manipulative and unfaithful. Their bitter ending marked a turning point in how people saw Eastwood. Before, he was seen as quiet and private, but now, people started looking more closely at the contradictions in his personal life. Among the other relationships Eastwood had while he was with Locke was a secret affair with Jacelyn Reeves, a flight attendant he reportedly met in the early 1980s. Their relationship stayed secret for many years, and neither of them was famous, so the affair stayed hidden from the public. From this relationship, Eastwood had two more children, Scott Eastwood, born in 1986, and Catherine Eastwood, born in 1988. While Reeves raised the kids mostly away from the public eye, Scott later went into Hollywood himself, becoming an actor known for roles in The Longest Ride, Pacific Rim Uprising, and Suicide Squad. Like several of Eastwood's other kids, Scott didn't use his father's last name for many years and only publicly said Eastwood was his dad when he became an adult. Catherine Eastwood also got into entertainment, though more quietly, working as a writer and actress. The Reeves affair showed that Eastwood was having more and more trouble keeping his private life private, since his growing fame made it harder to hide his romantic relationships. After his very public split from Locke, Eastwood found love with actress Frances Fisher, who he met while filming the acclaimed Western Unforgiven in the early 1990s. Their relationship, even though it was shorter than his previous ones, was still really important. Fisher, an established actress with a strong screen presence, became an important partner during a very creative time in Eastwood's career. Together they had a daughter, Francesca Eastwood, born in 1993, who would go on to appear in TV and movies and get more recognition through reality TV. Even though Eastwood and Fisher eventually went their separate ways, they stayed friendly in public and have sometimes appeared at events together with their daughter. In a surprising move toward a traditional commitment, Clint Eastwood got married again, this time to Dina Ruiz, a former TV news anchor, on March 31, 1996. This marriage was his second one, and many people were surprised, since the actor had always been known as independent and kind of a loner. Dina, who was 35 years younger than him, brought different energy to Eastwood's life, and their marriage got a lot of media attention. That same year they had a daughter, Morgan Eastwood, born in 1996. For a while, the family seemed stable and pretty modern, appearing together in public and taking part in different projects, including a reality show called Mrs. Eastwood and Company, which aired in 2012 and showed what the Eastwood family's life was like behind the scenes. But the marriage started having problems, and by August 2013, Dina revealed that she and Eastwood were living apart. Their divorce was finalized in 2014, ending Eastwood's last publicly known long-term romantic relationship. Clint Eastwood, one of Hollywood's most lasting icons and an actor whose work defined the Western genre for generations, has built his career on unforgettable roles, tough storytelling, and refusing to compromise on his cinematic vision. But even with his huge filmography and long-standing reputation for being professional, there's one project that Clint Eastwood has always distanced himself from: Two Mules for Sister Sarah, the 1970 Western adventure he starred in with Shirley MacLaine. To this day, Eastwood refuses to watch the film again, and the reasons go deeper than just not liking how it turned out. They involve clashing egos, creative disappointment, and a deep discomfort that's still there even decades later. When the film was being made, Eastwood was still in the early stages of changing from his man with no name, spaghetti western character to becoming a full Hollywood leading man. He had already proven himself with Sergio Leone's trilogy, and Two Mules for Sister Sarah was supposed to help make him an even bigger star. Set during the French intervention in Mexico, the film tells the story of a cynical mercenary named Hogan, played by Eastwood, who rescues and travels with a mysterious woman, Sister Sarah, played by McClane, on a dangerous journey filled with revolutionaries, danger, and deception. On the surface, the project seemed like it would be perfect for Eastwood. It combined his tough guy image with an unusual twist, offering a western mixed with comedy and mystery. But from the moment filming started, Eastwood reportedly felt more and more uncomfortable. A lot of this discomfort came from his co-star, Shirley MacLaine, an outspoken and very involved actress, whose working style clashed big time with Eastwood's relaxed, instinctual way of acting. While Eastwood preferred a simple, no-nonsense method, relying on quiet intensity and subtle facial expressions, MacLaine was more theatrical, assertive, and liked to challenge the director's decisions. Their personalities crashed on set, leading to constant disagreements and what Eastwood would later describe as one of the hardest working relationships of his career. He once called the experience of filming Two Mules for Sister Sarah unpleasant, which for the usually quiet Eastwood says a lot. The tension between Eastwood and MacLaine wasn't the only problem. Eastwood was also disappointed with the tone and direction of the film. Directed by Don Siegel, who would later become one of Eastwood's most trusted collaborators, the film tried to mix traditional Western elements with a quirky, almost comedic feel. Well, Siegel managed to get some strong performances and visually exciting scenes. Eastwood felt the movie didn't have the grittiness and moral complexity he liked. Even worse, the film's big twist, that MacLaine's nun was actually a prostitute dressed up as a sister, seemed forced and took away from the emotional impact. Eastwood thought the story went too far into being unbelievable, and the film's lighter tone didn't match his personal taste for harsh realism. Another reason Eastwood doesn't want to revisit Two Mules for Sister Sarah is because it represents a time in his career that he's tried to move past. Back then, he was still working for studios and directors who didn't fully understand or use his potential. It wouldn't be until a few years later, with films like High Plains Drifter and The Outlaw Josie Wales, that Eastwood would start taking creative control and shaping his own directing vision, stories that matched more closely with his artistic ideas. Looking back, Two Mules for Sister Sarah became a symbol of a time when he was just a hired actor, rather than the legend he would become, and watching it today might remind him of the frustrations and compromises from that time. Over the decades, Clint Eastwood has rarely talked about the film, and when he has, his words have been noticeably careful, even cold. Unlike some of his other westerns, which he revisits or mentions with pride, Two Mules for Sister Sarah is clearly missing from retrospectives, interviews, or director's commentaries. His silence shows an unresolved discomfort, a chapter he seems to think is best left closed. Whether it's the memory of creative conflict, the disappointment with the film's tone, or a general feeling that the project just didn't show who he was as an actor or artist,